The 2022 GMC Acadia has stunning looks, but don't fall for them. The reason it's on this list of worst cars of 2022 is how little it offers as compared to its rival midsize SUVs. The interior simply doesn't live up to its hefty price tag that can reach up to $47,000, almost $48,000. While the front two rows are adequately spacious, the third row is grossly cramped. The fuel efficiency, cargo space, and driving dynamics are also said to be inferior compared to its rivals. Ford has decided to discontinue the Ecosport, so the 2022 model will be the last one. Just having a look at this absurd car is enough to guess why it's been a disastrous failure. While Ford brands the Ecosport as a subcompact SUV, it practically lacks everything one might want from a crossover. A poor fuel economy, a dull ride, a brazen lack of safety features, and an outdated standard infotainment system makes the Ecosport one of the worst SUVs to buy in 2022. The 2022 Nissan Sentra would have been a great hauler, that is, if it were the only car in the compact sedan segment. But unluckily for the Sentra, Mazda and Honda offer better cars at a similar price point. Even though the Sentra comes with a lot of standard tech features and is comfortable as well, it lacks performance. It struggles to give you a decent highway ride and is also very dull in handling. A small trunk and finicky infotainment further worsen things for the Sentra, making it one of the cars to avoid in 2022. With a reliability score of 17 out of 100, Consumer Reports ranks the Volvo XC90 among the 10 least reliable cars to buy in 2022. Users have faced issues with the brakes, drive system, body hardware, and climate system of the luxury SUV over the last few years. Some other areas where the XC90 lacks include off-road capabilities, an inconvenient touchscreen, and a confusing climate control system in the rear. While this Volvo SUV received poor user ratings, Consumer Reports recommends the XC40 and the XC60 instead. The 2022 Subaru Impreza has everything you don't want in your car: an underpowered engine with sluggish acceleration, a lousy fuel economy, and a cheap interior. Even the exterior is outdated. Although the Impreza has an affordable price point that starts around $20,000, the list of reasons why you shouldn't consider buying it in 2022 is quite long. Rivals like the Volkswagen Jetta and Hyundai Elantra offer much better value in a comparable price tag. The HR-V, Honda's smallest SUV, lags behind rivals in every aspect, be it drive assist features, interior comfort, or even exterior design. It doesn't lead in anything. The HR-V's underpowered engine is probably its biggest flaw. The 141 horsepower four-cylinder engine is not just slow, but also very noisy. Combine that with a flaccid chassis and an all-wheel drive terrain, and you'll take a sluggish 9.5 seconds to accelerate to 60 miles per hour from a standing position. The Kia Seltos, the Mazda CX-30, and the Hyundai Kona all provide a better ride experience. While the Chevrolet brands the 2022 Trax as a, quote, small SUV that's larger than life, unquote, it is, in fact, a really small SUV that's unimpressive, impractical, underpowered, and not larger than anything. The Trax has an outdated exterior and an equally dated interior with limited driver assistance features and a measly 7-inch touchscreen. Simply put, it provides a poor value for money despite bearing an affordable price tag. The presence of up-to-date rivals with better everything makes the Trax one of the cars you should avoid in 2022. The 2022 Renegade is an entry point to the world of rugged off-roading as the most affordable Jeep out there, but still, it's one of the worst SUVs you can buy in 2022. All Renegades come with two unimpressive powertrains and a mediocre cabin that fails to upgrade across all of its 5 trims, and that's not all. A lethargic acceleration, lack of storage solutions, mediocre fuel economy, and poor noise insulation make the 2022 Renegade a car not worth having. You might be surprised to see a Kia sedan on this list, but the 2022 Forte isn't up to the mark with the rest of the sedans from the South Korean automaker. Part of the reason why the Forte is one of the worst cars of 2022 is its poorly optimized transmission that's way too noisy. A lethargic acceleration further reduces its odds to stand up to performance sedans like the Volkswagen Jetta GLI and the Honda Civic Si or the Mazda 3. The Fiat 500X is a small SUV, though it looks more like a hatchback than a crossover. But that's not the only problem with this vehicle. It has a cramped cabin, a small trunk, limited driver aids, and a tiny 7-inch touchscreen. When it comes to off-roading and practicality, the car doesn't even come near its rivals like the Mazda CX-30, the Hyundai Kona, and the Kia Seltos. Oh, and it's also way too overpriced with a starting price tag of $28,125. The 2022 Volkswagen Tiguan has good looks and a formidable presence, but there's a red flag, and a big one. Consumer Reports has ranked it among the 10 least reliable cars to buy in 2022 with an overall reliability score of 17 out of 100 and a predicted reliability of 1 out of 5. Over the last few years, the Tiguan has had problems with body integrity, power equipment, and even the brakes. Besides that, it lacks performance, is definitely not good for towing, and has a cramped third row, all of which combine to make it one of the worst cars of 2022. No, this isn't a photo of the 2011 Chrysler 300. This is how the 2022 version looks. Looks pretty outdated, don't you think? Wait until you see the interior. It's even worse, thanks to plenty of cheap materials and a lack of standard tech features. Besides its awful looks, decades-old headlights, and cheap interior, the performance and handling of the 2022 Chrysler 300 are said to be not on par with both the muscle cars and full-size sedans offered by its rivals. It's just a huge waste of money and probably the worst car of 2022. The 2022 Dodge Challenger looks just the same as it did a decade ago. While some people love the old-school vibes associated with the car's exterior, most despise the fact that it hasn't evolved in years. But that's not the worst thing about it. What really landed this car on the list is how its interior is plagued by low-end materials despite a price point that goes as high as 50 G's. The base V6 spitting out 305 horsepower fails to satisfy thrill seekers, and the bigger, badder option is way too overpriced. The Lexus LC has a smooth ride, a lavish interior filled with upscale material, comfortable front seats, and stunning exterior looks. It's just short on one thing: a sporty performance. Since the LC is a sports car and it's meant to deliver the sharpness of one, lagging in that single aspect pushes it to the bottom of its class. The Cadillac CT5V, Blackwing, the BMW M5, the Mercedes-AMG E63 S4MATIC, and the Audi S7, almost all sports cars you can think of that are better than the 2022 Lexus LC. The 2022 Chrysler Pacifica might seem like a great family hauler, but that's until you do your research. Based on data from the 2019, 20, and 21 models, Consumer Reports has predicted that the 2022 Pacifica will be less reliable than the average new car. The Pacifica has had all kinds of transmission problems in the past, ranging from fluid leaks to abnormal noises to stalling and total failure. And that's why Consumer Reports has ranked it among the 10 least reliable cars to buy with a score of 18 out of 100. The 22 Infiniti Q50 hasn't been an impressive offering from Nissan's luxury division. While it aims to take down rivals like Mercedes C-Class and BMW 3 Series, the truth is it leaves a lot to be desired and is in fact one of the worst cars to buy in 2022. For starters, both the exterior and interior of this luxury sedan are pretty outdated. Speaking of, the dual-screen infotainment further complicate things. While its overall reliability is average at best, the fuel economy is below average. Worst of all, it doesn't even deliver on its much-hyped sporty credentials. The Ford Explorer might be a household name, but the 2022 iteration has several red flags according to Consumer Reports. During the last 4 years, the Explorer has shown problems in transmission, drive system, and power equipment. The interior electronics and outside paint have also had issues. Unfortunately, the 2022 Explorer won't be much different, with Consumer Reports giving it a predicted reliability of 1 out of 5. In fact, Consumer Reports has branded it the second least reliable car of 2022 with an overall reliability score of 8 out of 100. In addition to that, insufficient legroom in the third row, poor fuel economy, and an unimpressive 8-inch standard infotainment system make the Explorer one of the worst cars to buy in 2022. The 2022 Nissan Altima has dashing looks and a comfortable interior. No one can take that away, but that's pretty much all about this middle child of Nissan's Sentra family, caught between the full-size Maxima and the compact Sentra. All engine options fail to deliver an exciting performance. Even the all-wheel drive option doesn't make up for the dent caused by its dull handling and underpowered engines. The base trim doesn't even have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay despite a hefty price tag of $25,500. While Subaru is generally considered a reliable brand, its largest SUV is not. The Japanese automaker had to issue a recall for the 2019 model, and unfortunately, little is changed for the 2022 version. Consumer Reports say that the 2022 Ascent is one of the least reliable cars you can buy today. With a reliability score of 18 out of 100 and a predicted reliability of 1 out of 5, Consumer Reports ranks the three-row family hauler as the 10th least reliable car to buy in 2022. According to Consumer Reports, the reason for this poor score is the vehicle's problems with the transmission, power equipment, climate system, in-car electronics, and even brakes. The 2022 Chevrolet Trailblazer is average at best. While both powertrain options fail to move the subcompact SUV at eager speeds, quick steering controls allow for better handling. The interior is also pretty decent. What makes the Trailblazer a car to avoid in 2022 is the high markup rates dealers are charging due to the limited availability of it. To be honest, there's nothing so special about this vehicle that should make you pay a staggering 18% over its MSRP. The Mitsubishi Outlander Sport struggles to stand out. Picking between its two powertrains is like Sophie's Choice. That's a deep reference. You can either choose a grossly underpowered standard 148 horsepower two-cylinder 4 engine with sluggish performance, or the more powerful 168 horsepower 2.4 liter option that performs well but is too overpriced and delivers bad fuel economy. The ride quality and tech features, the driver aids, the inside of the cabin are all inferior to rivals like the Hyundai Kona and the Mazda CX-30, making the Outlander Sport one of the worst crossovers to buy in 2022.
One final note, if you are in the market for a new vehicle soon, great. Connect with your local dealership and price and test drive at least 3 different vehicles. A vehicle's strengths and weaknesses can only be discovered when you are behind the wheel. My reviews can be good, but you need to test drive these yourself. Visit quotes.everymandriver.com, select the make, model, and your zip code, and you'll get invoice pricing in your area on those vehicles. Shop smarter with price quotes at quotes.everymandriver.com.
Thanks for watching. Please click subscribe and give us a thumbs up. See you next time.